Listen, because what I'm about to tell you isn't some feel-good self-help drivel. This is about fundamental transformations in how you view the world and your place in it. We're talking about the kind of paradigm shifts that can turn the crushing weight of adversity into the raw material for your own evolution. Now, the first shift we need to discuss is the recognition that suffering is not just inevitable, but necessary. And I know that sounds harsh. It sounds almost cruel. But here's the thing. Suffering is the price of being. It's the tax we pay for existing in a world of infinite complexity and potential. The question isn't whether you'll suffer, you will. The question is whether that suffering will be meaningful. You see, when adversity strikes, our first instinct is often to ask, why me? But that's the wrong question. The right question is, what is this teaching me? Because every instance of adversity, every moment of pain or struggle, carries within it the seed of wisdom. It's trying to tell you something about yourself, about the world, about the nature of reality itself. And this isn't just some abstract philosophical concept. This is a practical, actionable mindset that can radically transform how you navigate life's challenges. When you start viewing adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy, you stop being a victim and start being a student. But here's the critical point. This doesn't mean you passively accept whatever life throws at you. No. It means you actively engage with it. You grapple with it. You extract every ounce of wisdom and growth from it that you possibly can. The second paradigm shift is closely related to the first, and it's about responsibility. Now, I'm not talking about blame here. Blame is useless. I'm talking about taking radical responsibility for your life and your responses to adversity. You see, we live in a culture that often encourages victimhood. It's always someone else's fault, always some external circumstance to blame. But here's the harsh truth. Even if it's not your fault, it's still your responsibility. Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights. Let me be clear. This doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to good people. They do all the time. But the moment you shift from, why is this happening to me, to, how am I going to respond to this, you reclaim your power. You stop being a leaf blown about by the winds of circumstance and start being the author of your own story. And let me tell you, this shift is not easy. It's much more comfortable to blame others, to see yourself as a victim of circumstance. Taking responsibility means accepting that you have the power to shape your life, and with that power comes the burden of actually doing something about it. But here's the thing. It's in accepting that burden that you find true freedom, because when you take responsibility, you also claim agency. You recognize that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you have absolute control over how you respond. This leads us to the third paradigm shift, which is about the nature of control itself. We spend so much of our lives trying to control things that are fundamentally outside our control. We try to control other people's opinions of us, the outcomes of our actions, the twists and turns of fate. But here's the truth. The only thing you truly have control over is yourself. Your thoughts, your actions, your responses to the world around you. And when you truly internalize this, it's incredibly liberating. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to control the uncontrollable, you focus your energy on what you can actually influence. You stop worrying about whether people like you and start focusing on being the kind of person you respect. You stop obsessing over outcomes and start focusing on the quality of your actions. You become a force of nature. You become someone who can navigate the storms of life, not because you can control the weather, but because you've learned to steer your ship with skill and purpose. Now, the fourth paradigm shift is about the nature of identity itself. And this is where things get really interesting, really profound, because most of us walk around with a fixed idea of who we are. I'm shy. I'm not good at math. I can't handle stress. We treat these self-conceptions as if they're immutable facts of the universe. But here's the thing. You are not a fixed entity. You are a process. You are constantly changing, constantly evolving. And in moments of adversity, this realization becomes absolutely crucial. Because if you see yourself as a fixed entity, then adversity becomes a threat to your very being. If you fail at something important, and you believe I am a failure, then you're doomed. But if you understand that you are a process that you are constantly becoming, then failure becomes data. It becomes information that you can use to refine and improve yourself. This shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset is absolutely transformative. It means that no challenge is insurmountable because you can always grow to meet it. It means that no setback is final because you can always learn and adapt. But let me be clear, this isn't some facile believe in yourself and you can do anything nonsense. This is about the hard work of constant self-reflection, constant learning, constant pushing of your boundaries. It's about being willing to be uncomfortable, to be bad at things, to fail repeatedly because you understand that this is how growth happens. And when you combine this growth mindset with the previous shifts we've discussed, seeing adversity as a teacher, taking radical responsibility, focusing on what you can control, you become virtually unstoppable. Not because you'll never face challenges or setbacks, but because you'll have the tools to turn those challenges into fuel for your own evolution. The fifth paradigm shift is about the nature of meaning itself, and this is where we really start to grapple with the deepest questions of existence. Because here's the truth. Life is inherently meaningless. The universe doesn't care about your hopes, your dreams, your suffering. It's utterly indifferent. Now I know that sounds bleak, but it's actually incredibly liberating. Because if life has no inherent meaning, then we have the responsibility and the privilege of creating our own meaning. This is what Nietzsche was getting at with his concept of amor fati, love of fate. It's not about passively accepting whatever happens to you. It's about actively embracing it, about saying yes to life in all its terrible beauty. And when you make this shift, when you stop searching for meaning and start creating it, everything changes. Adversity is no longer just something to be endured. It becomes the raw material from which you craft the narrative of your life. Think about it. The most compelling stories, the most inspiring lives, are not those free from hardship. They're the ones where individuals faced immense challenges and found a way to create meaning from them. So the question becomes, what meaning will you create from your adversity? How will you weave the difficult threads of your experience into a tapestry that's beautiful, that's meaningful, that's uniquely yours? This isn't easy. It requires a kind of existential courage. It requires looking into the abyss of a meaningless universe and choosing to create meaning anyway. But it's in this act of creation that we find our highest purpose, our deepest fulfillment. And when you combine this with the other shifts we've discussed, seeing adversity as a teacher, taking responsibility, focusing on what you can control, embracing a growth mindset, you become not just resilient in the face of adversity, but almost grateful for it. Because you understand that it's through these challenges that you forge yourself, that you create meaning, that you become who you're truly meant to be.